Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. I hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas, it is not New Year's yet, it is only the 28th, but when New Year's comes, I hope you guys have a Happy New Year's as well. I will be picking back up very soon on videos, and before you know it, you guys are going to be blasted, sugar blasted with freaking videos, so be prepared. But as of right now, we're going to start out with just a couple items, because I do have to work night shift tonight. This item that we're going to be looking at today is the Magefist Gauntlets, which are absolutely amazing gauntlets. And you might be asking yourself, well, why are these so amazing? They're normal difficulty gauntlets. What do these have over regular gauntlets that the other gauntlets don't? Why wouldn't I use triangles or something like that? Well, when we go over them, you'll start to see why. So first off, right off the bat, we have 25 defense, which is not bad for level 23 gauntlets, and only a strength requirement of 45, which is relatively low. And most sorceresses will be able to use this particular strength requirement item. Even at level 23, you usually got at least 45 strength by then. This is actually good for a lot of characters, not just sorceresses. So if you happen to be a caster paladin, like for instance a Hammerdin or a caster druid, like a hurricane or a fire druid, or any, honestly, class that needs faster cast, these gloves have plus 20% faster cast. And there are very few gloves in the game that have faster cast on them. The only two that come to mind right off the top of my head are Triangle's gloves and Magefist. So it's really a choice of which one of these two that you would like. Now there are some other sort of caster type gloves, but without faster cast, like Frostburn gauntlets, which do give you a relatively large boost to mana, but it's not quite the same. The other interesting thing about these is that they give you +1 to fire skills. So if we take a look at our tree, you'll notice that we have an entire fire tree. And warmth is on the fire tree. And one of the things that you have to keep in mind when you look at Magefists is that not only do they give you that really nice 20% faster cast, but they also give you +1 to fire skills, which means that your warmth will go up by 1 point as well. So not only do these gloves give you a 20% faster cast, +1 to all fire skills, and this is on all characters, by the way. So it doesn't matter if you're a sorceress, a paladin, a druid. If you have a skill that is classified as a fire skill, it will beef it up. On a paladin, it will beef up holy fire. On a sorceress, it will beef up the entire fire tree. On the druid, it will beef up all of his fire abilities, including fire claws. On a I'm trying to think off the top of my head what other classes have fire abilities. If you're on a necromancer, it will beef up your fire golem. If you are on a Amazon, it will beef up your fire arrows, and so forth and so on. Any skill that is classified as fire. It also adds 1 to 6 fire damage, which is not really that much. 30% enhanced defense, which does vary from 20 to 30%, and a flat bonus of 10 defense, which is what gets it to that 25 number, with regenerate mana 25%, which is relatively awesome. So not only do these gloves give you regeneration to mana, they also give you more fire skills, which in turn, on a sorceress, gives you more warmth, which gives you more regeneration to mana. And then on top of that, they also give you a nice 20% faster cast. And these gloves are actually pretty nice to upgrade. So we'll keep the originals here, and we're going to go ahead and upgrade these. So if you want to upgrade these at least 1 tier, you're going to need a Perfect Diamond, a Ral Rune, and a Soul Rune. And upgrading these is going to give them a higher level requirement and a higher strength requirement. So right now we are at 25 defense, 45 strength, and 23 level requirement. And upgrading them will get us to... Did I grab the wrong... I think I grabbed the... Oh no, it's Shale... I always do this. It's Shale Tal. Shale Tal. I'll be right back. There we go. Shale Tal. So 25 defense, 45 strength, and level 23 to 88 strength, their level 30 requirement, and 69 defense. Not a terrible upgrade. Most sorceresses, when they level up to, like a level 56. They usually have enough strength to be able to wield a monarch shield for the spirit, and so obviously 88 strength is not going to be anything. The defense boost that you get from upgrading these is actually fairly nice, and believe it or not, Magefist can actually be fairly nice end-game level pieces of gauntlets. I know a lot of sorceresses that still use the 20% faster cast on the Magefists, along with the fire skills that regenerate mana, even at level 90 plus. And you can upgrade these a second time. Now, the second upgrade might not be as useful. You are going to get more defense, but the level requirement is going to go much, much higher, and the strength requirement is going to go much, much higher. But we're going to take a look at it, because why not? So we've got 69 defense, 88 strength, and 30 requirement, which goes to 151 strength, 69 level requirement, and 88 defense. So I'm not really sure if that one was quite worth it, but if you were at the 156 strength requirement for a monarch shield, which I don't seem to have one handy for demonstration purposes. Oh, there we go, 156. So if you were at the 156 strength requirement for this, upgrading this to a third tier for a really high level sorceress wouldn't exactly be a bad idea. Yes, the strength requirement does go way up, and yes, the level requirement does go way up, but the defense on this actually did go up pretty nice to 88. And I mean, when you're talking about a sorceress who's multiplying out her defense, you can see here I have 1,127 defense. Let's go ahead and put the monarch shield on while we're at it, just so we have a little bit extra defense there. And I'm actually not even wearing a helmet, so let me just slap some stuff on, just anything that I've got laying around, just something to give some defense so that we can multiply, right? So right now we have 2,079, and if I cast my chilling armor, actually, which one's the highest defense? It's shiver armor, right? So I cast my shiver armor, I've got 6,008, and that's with the regular gloves. So I put on my higher tier gloves, and you'll notice that I go up about 182 defense just from the difference between the Magefists and the fully upgraded Magefists. So an interesting option, especially since a lot of sorceresses end up using these even in a game, just simply because they are very powerful gloves. As I said, one of the other options that you can go with is Trangul's Claws. And Trangul's Claws does have a 20% faster cast as well, but they're completely geared toward a different type of character with poison skill damage, if I remember correctly, and they have cold resistance on them, I think, which is kind of nice. And that is something that these do lack. They lack any form of resistance increase. You don't get any type of, like, cannot be frozen or poison length reduction or, pretty much anything of an offensive nature or defensive nature on these. It's really just focusing around a caster class that is using faster cast and needs their mana to regenerate. And the +1 to fire skills is always nice because it does help out lots and lots of skills on this tree. Maybe if you're an enchant sorceress, you would get that extra +1 for enchant. Or if you were a firewall, a fire orb sorceress, you can get that extra +1 to firewall, extra +1 to fire mastery, etc. And this kind of thing can come in handy for a sorceress. Even if you are not a fire sorceress, having +1 to fire master, to warmth is not a bad thing. So not only are you getting the 25% regenerate mana, but the +1 to warmth, which let's do a quick search real quick while we're at it, since we're talking about this amazing item. So warmth goes up approximately, what's that, 12? Looks like about 12% per level, if I'm reading this correctly. Because it goes from 30 to 42, which is 12. 42 to 54, which is 12. 54 to 66, which is, again, 12. So yeah, it goes up about 12% per level. So we're looking at total, you're looking at 25% plus 12%, which is 5, 6, 7. So 37% regenerate mana just for putting on these gloves on a sorceress. Now, if you're not a sorceress, you're not going to get that extra benefit. But, there are tons and tons and tons of skills in the game that count as fire skills. And if you're not a sorceress, you may be getting other benefits for this particular ability. And just as a kind of like a go-to, let's talk about the skills that it will beef up. It's going to beef up Fire Arrow, Exploding Arrow, and Immolation Arrow on the Amazon. It will beef up Fists of Fire, Fire Blast, Wake of Fire, and Wake of Inferno on the Assassin. The Druid will get the buff Fire Claws, Firestorm, Molten Boulder, Fissure, Volcano, and Armageddon. The Necromancer gets Fire Golem, and believe it or not, also Corpse Explosion gets an effect from this because Corpse Explosion is technically a fire skill. Paladin also gets Holy Fire beefed up, and of course the Sorceress has all of the entire fire tree, which is very, very nice. Now, the Necromancer one is actually really interesting because if you are a Necromancer, you may be having issues with mana, and that 25% regeneration mana will help, and giving you +1 to your Corpse Explosion is certainly not bad either because it will increase the range of your Corpse Explosion, making it a lot easier to cast it. Because if it hits more monsters, you have to cast it less number of times. And you're also going to get the faster cast, so you can cast the Corpse Explosion faster. So not exactly a bad trade-off there. I think that kind of, unless you are a poison necromancer specifically, that kind of makes the Magefist gauntlets the go-to gauntlets for necromancers as well. Because if you were a poison necromancer, you would want Trang because it does have the skill, the poison skill damage or the negative poison resistance. I can't remember which one. But that would be very specific to a poison class. Whereas the +1 to Corpse Explosion is certainly nice. I feel like if you were hurting for resistances, you might put something else on for a little while. But usually once you get your resistances in order, the gloves aren't really that important as far as that's concerned. All in all, the Magefist's gauntlets and light gauntlets and Crusader gauntlets and even the battle gauntlets are very, very awesome gloves to keep around. If you are a sorceress, if you are a paladin, if you are a necromancer, if you are a druid, whatever class you happen to be, if you could use a little bit of extra regeneration as well as some faster cast, these are definitely some very nice gloves that you can put on for that purpose. Where can you find these gloves? They'll actually drop just about anywhere, to be honest. I usually like to farm normal difficulty for them because it kind of focuses a little bit better on finding them. Like you can find them from for instance normal difficulty Mephisto and normal difficulty Diablo and normal difficulty Baal. And the only reason why it's easier to find them in normal difficulty as opposed to other difficulties is because as you increase the difficulty setting and you add more and more higher level monsters to the pool, you will essentially add more and more items that can potentially drop, which decreases the chance that the Magefists will drop. Like for instance, the highest level monster in the game, as far as I remember, is Baal, who can drop every item in the game in hell difficulty. So Baal has like the least possible chance of dropping Magefist gauntlets because he can literally drop everything. And just because he can drop everything doesn't mean he's going to drop the specific item that you're looking for. But if you killed Baal in normal difficulty, for instance, you probably have a pretty good chance. In fact, I usually like to go to normal difficulty with a high magic find character. I'll kill Shank, Eldritch, Diablo, Baal, whoever, Mephisto, whatever I need to do to try and grab some of these lower items that are actually very, very useful. Magefists are one in particular that even early ladder, when characters are first leveling up, it's actually a pretty sought after item. And later in the game, as as the characters are more fleshed out and everybody's getting more elite equipment, Magefist's value drops like a rock because they are relatively easy to find. But they are also relatively powerful items to add to your arsenal, and as such, you will find that that very early in the game, before everyone has their hands on them, everyone is looking for them. I think that's pretty much it. And as always, thanks for watching, and keep watching.